Make yourself comfortable. Lose your name tag. You gotta get that command voice. Come on in. Everybody, can I have your attention?
Hello, everybody. Good evening. If y'all could all pay attention to this gentleman right here, we can get this show on the road.
All you people in the back, we've got reserved seating up front here for you, so come on in, make yourself comfortable. We got plenty of seats up here.
This ain't church, you can't go to the front.
That's right. That's right. No backsliding here today. I want to welcome everybody to this meeting. We really appreciate you being here. It's a pleasure to see all of you here, all patriots. With everything that's going on in this country, we need to really bind together and get motivated and make some changes. And that's what this meeting is about tonight. We'll be talking about that here in a little while. But I want to welcome you. I know sometimes if you don't know people in this meeting, it's a little bit hard to come in. I remember my first meeting, I was about as meek as a sheep. I came in and didn't know anybody, but relax, you're among friends. We all have the same ideals and the same ideas, and we all know where we want to take this thing, and we're going to learn about what it takes to get there. So welcome. Appreciate you being here tonight. If you will stand for our prayer. Our prayer is given by Reverend Joel Robbins of Ovilla United Methodist Church.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this gathering of people that care about this country. Thank you for this gathering of people that are willing to bring back the basic ideals of what we should stand for as a people. Thank you for their passion. We thank you for their action. In the midst of all that occurs, we pray that your will is done. But as we seek to be your country again, we ask that you encourage us and help us to embrace what is true and your will for us. Guide this meeting and direct it through the power of your Holy Spirit. Help each and every person gathered here to know and understand in the midst of all that occurs, we pray that you are glorified. The truth is spoken, the truth is understood, and then in the midst of this meeting, that somehow your kingdom is continued in strength and tenacity and endurance. That people understand why they're here and what they stand for. We ask, Lord, that in the midst of all that occurs, that this be a blessed time. And that in a time and situation in our country where so many are fearful of chaos, chaos in morality, chaos in ethics, chaos in a definition of the truth. We thank you for those that seek it, simply want us to return to those values of which we have left as a country. We ask these things in the name of the risen Christ Jesus. And all those present in his name said, Amen.
Thank you, Joel. If you would remain standing, we will have our pledges to the flag. We'll just use the background here as our pledge, starting with the American flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
You may be seated. Well, tonight we have something a little bit different. We don't have a guest speaker as we normally do. We're all here to learn about how we can plug in and really make a difference in the county and then stretching out from there. So we're going to be talking about redistricting, we're going to be talking about precincts, and what you can do to become active to make a difference. So with that being said, Henry, you want to talk about the email?
How do I get signed up?
How do you get signed up for email and that kind of thing?
All anybody needs to do, if they want to get signed up for the email, we send out emails about once a week. We don't flood your inbox. Go to our website, elliscountyteaparty.org. Click on the button that says Join Us and fill it out. All you have to put in there is a name and an email address. You can fill out the other if you wish. It'll help us. You will at that time be sent an automatic email back to confirm that you put in the proper email address. This is to protect you from putting in somebody else's email address or a wrong one. You have to click on a link on that email that you'll be sent back. Once you've done that, you're on. And anytime you want to get off, every email you get sent, there's a link at the bottom that you can click on, and you will automatically be taken off the email list. So don't worry about getting spammed. Get your email box totally full. It's that easy.
Henry, sometimes if you don't find it in your regular mailbox, where might you find this automatic thing back to you?
Some email software will automatically kick some emails into your spam folder. Some of them call it a spam folder. Sometimes it's called a junk mail folder. So if you don't get emails and you're looking for them, you've signed up and you're trying to figure out why, check that folder.
And if you know someone who might be interested in this kind of thing, tell them about it. Tell your neighbors, tell people you go to church with, tell people down at the Lions Club, and invite them to go to the website and sign up so that we can grow and be more effective in our county. And now to start the program off, to talk about precincts, Chief Lennon.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First and foremost, I'm your treasurer. So the first order of business, I've got to pass the hat.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We do take $100 bills.
Would you accept them instead of having to take them?
We'll accept them too.
And if anybody wants to come on down and sit up front, there's seats down here. We don't buy it. Too often. That's why we keep her separate.
I got that at Athens. Somebody's being
Given that we're entering an election year, which we're all aware, Tea Party first and foremost represents you. What are your priorities? What do you think we should be? What do you think we should be doing? Over the past year, we haven't done a whole lot of that. We've been primarily on education, getting people up to speed on different things, and trying to determine some directions for this year. First quarter, what we thought, the steering committee thought was most important, was becoming more involved on a political level at grassroots level. There's several levels. There's state, there's local, city, state, and federal. Come on down if you want to. Anybody want to sit down? Where we thought we could have the most effect for the first quarter of this year was local. Primarily precincts, cities, school districts. Where could we be effective? Where could people put in their time and their money? As little or as much as they wished. So what we thought was we were going to focus on redistricting. We had two maps, as everybody well knows. We had the old one, and we've theoretically got a new one. Ellis County shouldn't change too much, but we're not sure yet. And as you're all aware, the Supreme Court kicked out the judges' maps yesterday. So we're really not sure. So we don't have the maps, and we're not really ready to go on that. And that's why they're not here. Does everybody know which precinct they're in?
Old or new?
The old,
Unless they, well, and I know the new one.
the old,
Unless
the
you
original
withdraw.
precinct here again. You need to find out. You can go to Texas District Viewer, You can find out which precinct you're in. Most of them are not going to change very much. But like mine in Midlothian, they're going to change a little bit. Midlothian's going to change some.
Yeah, they're adding on. They all renumber.
Yeah, and they all renumber. So you need to know where you're going to, where you need to vote. Primarily where you need to vote. Yeah.
Look at your voter ID card. Your voter card's got that on it. And you will be sent a new voter card with your new district on it.
Once we have it.
Remember, the numbers change, so your old voter card will have your old precinct number on it.
So you'll
And all the numbers are new numbers. So you got, in terms of what your number is, don't rely on the old one. You'll have to look it up.
Also, what we want to change is the nature of the meetings that we've been having. We want them to be more discussions, more interactive. Tell us what you're thinking. This is your tea party, not ours. We're the steering committee. We're here to help things move along and get active and do a lot of the hard work that gets done behind the scenes. But we need your input. We want your input. We want you to shout it out. Tell us. And that's why the meetings are going to be fairly well structured from here on out. Very quick. Get through what we need to get through. But discussion sessions after that. Let's find out what's important to everybody and where we can be effective and where we can help out. So, with that, everybody knows why there's redistricting going on. Every 10 years we do the census. And every 10 years the districts get redrawn. Especially Joe Barton's number 6. It's going to get redrawn dramatically, but it shouldn't affect us here. So, with that, what we would like to do is delve in at the precinct level. We're going to discuss that in depth tonight. So everybody knows, how do you really obtain political power? It's at the district precinct level. We're going to discuss that whole process so everybody's familiar with it. And then at the end, what we want to do is get volunteers and those that want to get more active, a little or a lot. We're going to talk about how we can do that. We've got people here that are active a lot. Linda Bounds is running for state rep.
TJ
Right. That's big. And we've got a lot of precinct chairs here. How many here are precinct chairs? 7?
I'm finding out.
The Tea Party Steering Committee wants to pursue about 7 to 10 more precinct chairmen at least. We'd love to have 12 to 15. But if we can get 7 to 10, we can control Ellis County. And start to make our voices heard rather than just writing a lot of letters and doing all the things we've always done. We need to be effective. And the way we become effective is at the grassroots level. So that's first quarter. We haven't decided what we're going to do second quarter because we don't know what's going to go on after that. But for the first quarter, this is where we're going to go. Questions, comments, anything?
Since this is a primary, I think you need to go over the delegate issue.
We're going to.
Okay.
That's on our agenda today. The agenda is pretty well messed up tonight for a couple of different reasons. One primarily, I don't know if any of you heard, Cindy Kelly's husband was injured in a rather severely injured in an electrical accident yesterday. So he's been in the hospital and still is in the hospital, that's my knowledge. And will be.
He's actually back at home.
Is he back home?
Yes.
Well, what's his prognosis?
It's good. He's got second and third degree burns on face and hands, but was pretty lucid immediately after the accident. It didn't, he hit 4,000 volts. And anytime you have electricity, we're electrical creatures. But Cindy says that the prognosis is real good. He's back. She's at home with him right now. He's back at home and expected to recover fully.
Cindy said one of his worst injuries was when he got hit, he nearly bit his tongue off. I mean, he really bit his tongue really hard. It's really injured. So that's probably good for her.
So keep them in your prayers. We have had success. We have been successful. We have had a number of successes where the Tea Party's been very effective. And to talk about that a little bit, Linda Dunn.
I got here real late, so how is this working? Is there a clicker or something clicking?
No, we've kind of abandoned a lot of it because it's
Where did the clicker go?
right here.
Okay.
Okay. I'd just like to go to, actually, no. Yeah, we had some other things. Back up. And more. Okay. Really quickly, I'll just talk about this before we do the next thing. Have y'all looked through this already?
No, we haven't been looking at all.
Okay.
I was
good.
talking too much. And
Okay.
flipped.
We want to talk about this real quickly, is that our email system, if you haven't already received it, we have our own email server now. We are no longer going through the Dallas Tea Party. It was an awesome thing to begin with because it helped a lot of the Ellis County and zip codes to start out with. But they've become so overwhelmed with things, and you can imagine all just the cities around Dallas. So we've started our own. However, we are unable to get a Tea Party email from them because part of their thing when they started it was they weren't going to give their email to anyone. And that's something that we want to be able to do for them. And Dallas Tea Party is too. Even though this is a tea party, who knows who wants their email to another tea party? They don't know. So they can't just get that email list. So if you are not, is anyone not currently getting emails from us? You heard about this from somewhere else. Okay, just so you know, tell somebody that. They need to go to the Ellis County Tea Party site, Ellis County Tea Party.org, and then they need to join that. They will receive a confirmation email from us. They have to click that confirmation in order then to be on our email list. So if you do get someone, don't send them to the Dallas Tea Party site. Send them to our site because we don't get that Tea Party information. I get the email still, but then I have to email the person. It's kind of a roundabout way and try to do that. So that's how that's working right now, just so you know that. We did that already. Guess what that was? Yeah, that was passing that. Okay, and all right, so this is where we are. As Keith mentioned, we've had a lot of successes with the Ellis County Tea Party in Ellis County. And that a lot of that is due to the precinct chairs and what other people have done. I just want to flip them out there because you can see them a little bit better. The first one, the Ellis County Tea Party equals the Ellis County GOP chairperson, who is Dan Davis, if you don't know who that is. He came out of the Ellis County Tea Party, so the leadership of the GOP now is trying to focus a little bit more on conservative people. And it's not so much establishment Republicans in there. And they're really, he's a Tea Party person. He really is fiscally conservative. Doesn't want the government, all those things that we stand for. So that's a major thing in Ellis County. So I want to talk about that. Second, Keith talked about precinct chairs. We've been able, because we have, I don't want to say majority, we'll kind of slide through there when it comes to vote time, 30%. It's important because we are able to vote on things, and the voting takes place for the GOP here in Ellis County by those precinct chairs, their executive committee. And so when decisions are made, we vote on them. And so if we can pull that one way or the other, that's what we try to do. And because of that, you may not be. Oh, awesome. You may not be aware that we, as a GOP committee, were able to censure the Commissioner's Court for the 5% tax raise that was given to all citizens of Ellis County. Now, granted, 5% doesn't mean you're going to be, paying tons, but it is something, because you're just going to do it a little bit more and a little bit more. Isn't that how it works? That's right. So, it was a 14-7 vote. So we were able to outvote them by quite a majority. However, we want to get more people in there. This is the start. For those of you who may not be familiar with what censure is, basically because they did that, we now said, okay, we're going to slap your hand. It's not a whole thing, but when these people run back for office and they voted yes for the tax increase, we can say, well, you were censured by the Republican committee. in Ellis County. So it's just one more thing.
And to back up that censure, their next Commissioners Court meeting is Monday night, and they have as item A11 on their agenda, planning the Ellis County Employees Appreciation Dinner. So I don't know how much money they plan on spending on that, but it should be interesting to see.
Yeah. And that is something to look at, so.
Because they couldn't cut the budget anywhere. They made it very clear.
Yeah.
Well, that meeting starts at what time Monday?
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Where's it at?
It's at the old courthouse.
Second floor.
Second floor.
Commissioner's Court room.
See if you can get a figure from them, because there's a lot of ways to do appreciation dinners very inexpensively. I do them for my job, and so there's ways to do it inexpensively. So it would be interesting to find out what that is. Those are the kinds of things we're going to hold them to the fire. So that's what we're all about. Oh, I'm sorry, you're doing that. Our Facebook page, I don't know if you all know that we do have a Facebook page as Ellis County Tea Party, and it has become a relevant site. We have a lot of discussion going on, and there's a lot of different voices there, a lot of opinions, which is what we want, and a lot of discussion back and forth about how people feel about certain issues. And so it kind of has become the site to go to see what people are thinking, see what people are discussing. So we think that's kind of cool, because a lot of sites get out there and they just kind of sit there and nobody goes to them. They can choose where they want to go. And they chose to come to our Facebook page, so we're excited about that. And I think there's one more. We were able to support the Athens protest in when the whole y'all familiar with Athens, right? And the major and
Freedom from religion.
Freedom from religion. And we
Wisconsin.
Yeah, all the way from Wisconsin, go figure. But why we think that's significant, but I don't know if you all realize, but a lot of tea parties that started a couple years ago, they don't really have, they have an email list, but they don't have a lot of members. Even the Dallas Tea Party, the original Dallas Tea Party, is relying on leadership that was there before, and the membership is there when it needs to come out. But we were able to go down there as Ellis County Tea Party. And how many people did we have go? Jimmy, do you know?
Oh, you did? How many?
Yeah. You know how many went? How many went from here? So you know that.
Oh yeah, how many we had from here?
Yeah.
10 or 12 of us.
Yeah, somewhere around 10.
Yeah, and that actually is a good number, because a lot of tea parties around or other groups have gotten started, and they're not able to keep that. So on a weekend or short notice, we had people going. So those are just some of the things that we've been doing at Ellis County Tea Party. You didn't even know that we've had those successes. And it's because y'all coming and being able to support us, whether it be through your money, through your time, through your talents, we have been able to do what we do. So we want to thank you for that, and just know that you've done that.
I'm kind of a member of a lot of different groups around, and this monthly meeting with this many people outshines Arlington, Dallas. They don't even have meetings. Kaufman has a meeting every 3 months. This turnout on a monthly basis is incredible relative to anybody around us. Everybody got involved in '09, and then now they're just reading emails.
Carrollton's doing really well.
Carrollton is?
Yes. Monday night, in fact, Carrollton's having some kind of thing about public education. Is that that?
Yeah.
But it's hosted by the Carrollton
Right,
Party.
right.
Now, do they have meetings monthly as well?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And
We're glad.
Yeah, I am. But
But I get emails from them, like you say, you belong to.
Awesome. So just keep this in mind as you're listening tonight, how much more we can do if we've just done this. And so that.
I don't know if you've noticed, if you listen to talk radio a lot, like I do, they mention 3 tea parties. I don't know why, they're just maybe familiar with them. They mentioned Arlington, Garland, Ellis County. I've heard 2 different local talk show hosts on several occasions when they talk tea party. Ellis County's always in there.
Well, who gives them that information?
They're just active in the community.
Y'all do because you show up
Yeah.
and you do stuff.
Would one of those be?
And we go to events and
Pardon?
do stuff.
Would one of those be Mark Davis?
Yes. Mark Davis, and the new guy that's on 570 at the 3 o'clock.
Chris Crock.
Chris Crock. In fact, he was, Harlan Convention, he was out at a meeting the other night.
Right.
Yeah, it was Tea Party people. So, we've been getting mentioned by several different groups. With that, we're going to give you a quick update as to some of the groups that Harlan and Bill are involved in on the North Texas and what's going on there.
We've been meeting with the North Texas Council, or we were part of the North Texas Council, and I've mentioned that to some of y'all before. That's a group of Tea Party leaders across North Texas. We have formed a vetting committee within that group. There's a 7-member panel that I'm a member of, and we have vetted Joe Chow, Frank Kushar. We vetted a judicial candidate this afternoon. We had scheduled 2, but we had a no-show. So on the website, when we post the videos, and what we're doing is videotaping all the questions we do. We're giving them a score. We're going to put that on a website where everybody can look at and see the candidates for yourself. You can see who's doing what. Pick the people you like and support them. And please go out and back them when you like them. All excellent candidates, but see if they fit you and your needs. That's what that's about. Also, in regards to the Athens deal, something has come up from that. I was talking to Ray Myers of the Kaufman Tea Party last night. He called me last night. They're kicking off, I believe, next month, and I'll get the date to y'all. They're reaching out to all the ministers in the North Texas area and trying to get them to come together and form a coalition of ministers to try to fight some of this stuff that's going on with our religious freedom. And the gentleman that was here giving the prayer, stick your hand up.
You had to go.
He left? Okay.
You had to go.
Well, we want to talk to him as well and get him involved in that. It's a very, very good deal. It's a powerful thing for us to do. The North Texas Council, a lot of good things are going to come out of that, and I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm representing this group in that. Bill's also involved in that. Is there anybody else here that's involved in that? Gordon Edwards. Gordon Edwards was there tonight. Alexandria Fincher was there today, and part of that. So.
Keep it in eye on
I keep an eye on Bill Carson. Anyway, that's the update from that. So.
Thank you. Now I need a volunteer. You guys, will you gonna do that? Okay, go ahead. Now we're gonna talk about the definition of a precinct chairman, precinct representative, how you get active, how much time it takes, how it works. Obviously we've got 7 or 8 precinct chairmen here, so feel free to speak up and what you do and the responsibilities you take on.
Thanks. Yeah, this was Cindy's. Cindy was going to do this tonight, so if I'm not as prepared as you would like to know about precinct chairs, it's because we kind of switch things around a little bit. But precinct representative or precinct chair, as you all know, there are precinct chairs. They represent the precinct, and their main thing that they are. Okay. They're the elected representative of your precinct, and they are elected. And I think that's important. They aren't just appointed by someone, so they are elected by the people of your precinct. And Jimmy's going to get into that a little bit later about how that happens. But know that they're an elected official, and our whole point is to hold elected officials responsible, which is what we are trying to do with the GOP. In fact, when you find out what your precinct is, we do have some precinct chairs that have been there for a very long time. And it's just like the incumbents that have been there for years. We do the same thing within the GOP, and so we're looking at that. It's the most important position in any political party because they are the people who are going to go out there and they're going to, if you want to, they're maximize the votes in your precinct. And so the first thing that you need to do is identify voters. Now, when I get through this, please don't feel like this is something like, oh my gosh, I can't do that. There's no way. It's going to take too much time. It's going to take energy and all that. there are avenues for you to get information, so you're not looking it up yourself and flipping through the phone book to try to figure out who's who. And so you get that information. We are going to be having trainings. Those who raised their hands earlier who are precinct chairs, you can ask us, and we're going to help. In fact, we have one precinct chair that we're going to walk the block for him with me having an opponent. And so there is lots of help there. You just have to seek it out. I'll be honest with you, I haven't done, go ahead and put the last one. Okay, I haven't done everything. One thing on there that I left off was registering voters. I haven't done that. So I didn't put up there one thing. Everybody thought they had to go do all this. It was mandatory. It's not. But having a representative, one going back to the executive committee and meeting once a month is important. So we want someone there with conservative values in the precinct, in the executive committee. As a precinct representative, you will be doing these things, and we will help you with that. Is anybody in 104 now? You're going to go into that one? Okay, so you're going to run for 104. You're in 104. You're in 104.
I'm running for, oh, I didn't hear what you said.
Not the new
Yeah.
104, the old 104.
The new 104. You're running with the one, okay. So I'm the precinct chair for the current 104, and my new one's going to be 146. But in the past, I have walked, knocked on doors. I have sent out, and people have helped me. Amy Heckey's one that's helped me, and I've given her bags with information in it, and I've given her specific addresses that she needs to go to. If they're home, that's great. If not, that's okay too. But so those are the types of things that we do to try to reach the voters. I've done a mail out to the people that are there, and there are funds to help with that. So don't think you're paying everything yourself. If you have an idea and you want to do something, and that's through the Republican Executive Committee, where those funds will come from. If you want to do a mail out or something like that. But the main thing are these three things here: identifying voters, informing them, and turning out voters. Because that's who figures it all out, right? Isn't that who figures or makes those decisions? You know, when it comes to voting. And so we want to get all those people out. In fact, I have to be honest in telling you to find information of how to be a precinct chair. Guess where I went? I know those people. Yeah, I went to the Democratic National Party. They have it down. They have got it down. They tell you word for word what you need to do. We got one for the Republican Party, but it was kind of, you know, in fact, this is where I got that. And, you know, now this is in our little handout, but you have to come look for it. And
Yes,
so,
he's got a handbook.
yeah, we are in the process as a GOP committee. There is one elections committee that is making a book now. That's going to be a little bit more understandable. But, you know, if they were done it, why reinvent the wheel? Just take what they got. Theirs is a little different than ours because they do things a little bit differently. But, you know, that's what you can do. And I think there's one more, Keith. Yes. Oh, no, go ahead, go back. That was Jimmy's on the head. Sorry, I was showing our preview. But anyway, please don't feel that. Please don't feel like it's something that's so overwhelming. Because I mean, I work a full-time job too, and involve a few things. So please don't feel like you can't do it just because you have other things. Bill.
The GOP does have an elections committee, and that we are, Harlan and I are on that committee also. We are working on, Jack is too. Where's Jack? We're working on a handbook specifically for each precinct. It'll have a list of voters, a map, you know, a lot of specific information for that. And the GOP is also planning on having precinct chair training. If they fall through, the Tea Party will step up, you know, irrespective.
And it has, because we have an elections committee, and we have Harlan, Bill, and Jack on it, Tea Party people to guide that, and that's where that precinct chair comes in again. It's not just you doing this, but you're being a big influence on other things as well. Do any of the precinct chairs currently would like to share something about what you do, or anything about your precinct?
I just want to say, Nita Erickson was our precinct chairman, and she sent out a letter to introduce herself. And I said, in all the years I've lived, I don't think I've ever received an introduction letter from my precinct chairman. I had no idea who they were or if we had one. So I thought that was pretty neat that she introduced herself.
How many here know their precinct chair? Oh, awesome, that's more than I thought. For those of you who don't, that's what we're trying to resolve. Is that you know who that is, you know who you can go to. We can tell you who your precinct chair is, who it will be, and you can call them. And it's an elected official, and you can call them and say, hey, what have you been doing? You know, I haven't heard from you. How long have you been on precinct chair? And I guarantee you someone's going to say, oh, about 10 years. If you don't know who they are, that's exactly what we're trying to do. And that's why that's so important. So just please keep that in mind for today.
And I might add that Linda has all the open precincts. You have a list? We have a list? Not here, but I mean, we have.
Yeah, we do have one of what's open and what, some of you may, anybody here that received an email from us asking you to be here tonight?
It's working. Yeah, it's working. We need all your email addresses if you'd like that kind of information, because that's the kind of information we send out. It's not just blather. It's that kind of information that we get to you, what the new precincts are, what the old ones are, and then who your precinct chairman might be. So consider it. We will help you through that process. I'm a newbie. I'm going to be in one of those too. So I'll be in the classes learning how to do all this.
How many precincts are in Ellis County right now?
45.
45.
With the new maps, 49.
Yeah, I thought it was 42.
But currently, until primary election, there are 45 seats. There are 49 precincts.
Once we have a precinct chairman, we go to the precinct convention. Jimmy's going to talk about that, how that works. So you're up.
Okay, well, you know.
Go, Jimmy.
I know who that was.
Jimmy Simmons.
I'm old enough. You know, I was just thinking, while I was listening to everything, and I was thinking, you know, we had 10 Tea Party people that didn't infiltrate the Republican Party, but they joined in to help out. And I was one of them that's already there. I went all the way back to the first time that Ronald Reagan ran. Way back, way back.
I thought he was twice at Andrew Jackson.
I didn't read gray hair. Anyway, wouldn't it be kind of fun somewhere down the line, once we got the seats filled up in the Republican Executive Committee, for some of us to go over and kind of pull a Democratic thing and go to the precinct conventions for the Democrats and help write some really good resolutions and say, hey, I want to be a delegate to the Democratic convention here. Wouldn't that be kind of neat? And it just flip-flop. Well, we would make the news then. I'll tell you.
And what do they hold that in?
You know, we could do that. You know, most of us that have some gray hair were here when Ellis County was nothing but Democrats. There weren't any Republicans. Maybe a doctor or two, something like that. So that's flip-flopped in old graybeard's lifetime. All right, one of the most important dates that we don't know when it is
To be determined.
is the, of course, the
It's called primary election.
primary election. That's important.
Yeah.
And,
Gotta remember what it's called.
but immediately following that
Primary election.
primary election, they have something on that evening. As soon as the polls close at 7 o'clock, if you really want to get involved and help, and you Tea Party people, I know you all do, and so I'm encouraging you to do this. Go to your poll where you voted, or if you voted early, find out where that is. Or if you voted by mail, find out where that is, that they held the election, and go there immediately after the polls close.
Did they actually change the rule that it must be at the polling location?
Yes.
Because last round we had some polling locations that refused to allow the precinct meeting to occur at the polling location. So what you really need to do is the judge for the election is required to post at the polling location a notice that says where the precinct chair, where the precinct meeting will be and what time it is. Now, the usual condition is that it be at the place where you voted and at, you know, as soon as they get the polls closed after the election. Because, you know, after you finish voting, you get out of line, maybe there's at the end of the official time frame, there's 10 people in line, they all got to come in, you got to finish the voting, you got to get everything to add up. There's a whole bunch of things that the people, the clerks, the election judge, all of those have to get through. And if you're in the same space they're going to be in, then you'll have to be enough patient that they can get the polls officially closed and all the ballots sent back to county so they can be counted, and then you'll have a precinct meeting. Sometimes it's just instantaneous, and sometimes it's half an hour, 45 minutes, but the notice will be there, poll.
Thank you.
Do it.
Well, you know, I discovered something today in reading through something the Republicans put out. It's called the Republican Party of Texas Precinct Convention Sample Script. About 10, 11 pages. And so it's easy to find. I found it. So it told me that if the workers, the judge at the precinct want to participate in that convention, they can do that. They can just go right over, participate, and it doesn't matter how long it lasts. Then they can go back, count everything up, and get their votes down to the election.
Jane Anderson, usually under a deadline.
You better tell Jane Anderson. She'll see you out.
They may be under a deadline, but that is a deadline that somebody arbitrarily made up.
Jane
The law
Anderson
says
will be at your door.
you do not have to go down.
You don't have to do it, but that's the way it's usually.
Really quickly, we're going over this. You do not have to be a precinct chair to do this convention. I don't know if you were going to talk about
Absolutely.
that. But please don't turn, you know, don't tune out because you're not a precinct chair. You do not. In fact, it helps if we aren't, because a lot of us are busy doing other things on election day. So please be listening, because you may be able to do that yourself at your precinct if someone doesn't show up to be the leader. You can do it. It's very, very easy.
Oh, actually, all of you tonight.
He's probably going to explain everything.
Especially
How many
to the
we get?
point,
Yes.
there are 45 precinct chairs, there are 49 voting precincts. So there's a possibility of 49
Y'all are going to get me confused here in a
conventions.
minute.
It is very confusing.
Generally speaking, go down to your, wherever you voted, if you voted on voting day, or if you voted early, find out. Go down there as soon as the polls are closed. If you want to be the temporary chair of that convention, just say, hey, I want to be the chair. Well, if somebody else says, I want to be the chair too, well, we'll vote on it at some point, temporary chair. And once you get that temporary chair, and I encourage all of you to be a chair, a temporary chair. Now, normally the temporary chair ends up being the permanent, because we're just that way down here in Texas. But you want to pick you out a real good secretary real fast.
Question. Isn't it the responsibility of the precinct chair to either be there to do this,
Not
or
necessarily.
to have somebody sign up to do it?
No. It can be anybody that voted Republican that day.
Well, then you could have people who are rivals wanting to lead it.
Well, that's where you use the democratic process.
I'm the ex-chair, okay, of the Ellis County Republican Party. And anybody can show up and do it. You expect the precinct chair to be somewhere in the neighborhood or make sure it happens or anything. But there have been a lot of precincts on occasion where one person showed up and was the entire committee. Now, there have also been places where, you know, somebody showed up and knew the rules and somebody else showed up and didn't know the rules. If you need the rules, they are in fact on the Texas GOP website. And it's rules of conventions, it's the ones that are followed for all of the official precinct meetings and all the other levels.
If you
So,
decide,
go do
if you decide you want to be the temporary chairman of that precinct convention, volunteer, you will then receive a packet from the election judge. She'll have a packet for you, and it showed everybody that's voting in that election. Early too, should be early, by mail, all the various ways you can vote. From that packet, with those names, as people come in, you have your good secretary that you selected, determining, well, before things really get started, whether or not these people that came down and want to be a part of it are eligible or not. And they all will be, just about, unless somebody's playing little tricks. And so, pretty quick then, you found out how many people you have that want to be a part and want to be a delegate to that precinct convention. And if you run out of seats for those people that came in, I think it's supposed to be like one for each 25 votes in the previous election.
Now you're talking about delegates.
That's going on.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about delegates for you there now.
Precinct chair.
So if you run out of delegate seats, you have an equal number of alternate seats. And let's hope that you do. I've been in precinct convention, there's been 2 of us, me and my wife. Now that doesn't speak too well of my getting out and getting people to come in. But people just didn't know about this. It's something that we've never done. Anyway, so you end up with by the way back in those Reagan years, one night in Old Villa, how many of you are here from around Old Villa? I'm not even over, but at any rate, we had over 100 people come to our precinct convention.
Wow.
And it was quite a night. But nevertheless, I hope we all can do that this year. Volunteer. And if you don't volunteer, just go in and be a part of it. Now, once you become seated, what you'll want to do then, before then, bring that night with you some resolutions. Whatever your hot buttons are. What you think the GOP, unless you go to the Democratic convention, but whatever you think the GOP should be about. And what your hot button is. And if it's already on our party platform, write it again. Write it a little better than it is on our party platform.
One per page, preferably.
Yeah,
don't bring in a pamphlet that's got 30.
I'm going to go over that. One per page in triplicate. I encourage you to do that. That's who we're about. We're here. We've all got hot buttons. We've got issues. We're here because of issues. So, take one night we had 52 resolutions in our little old precinct convention. They all got to the county convention then too. So you work those over. Once you get your delegates all together, then you work over resolutions. And you'll get to vote on all of them. And if you want to reword them, you can reword them. You can stay there till midnight if you want to. But
how about these resolutions? If we really want to be effective, don't you think we ought to have maybe a day where we come together and we start talking about the resolutions and working on
great
something?
idea. I think if you want to do that, that's what you should do. There are a
So
lot
that
of
way, all the different precincts, if anybody here who's from those precincts can take those resolutions.
Good idea.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Get that to going and show us how it's done in your,
yeah,
your
right.
precinct. TJ.
In 2010, Deborah Medina, who ran for governor, she actually wrote up a whole bunch of resolutions, and a bunch of us that supported her brought them to our precinct conventions, and a lot of them went through, came through the Ellis County county convention, made it all the way through, and most of them made it all the way to the state convention. But it was a very, it's much more effective. Well, yeah, we do like to do the thinking ourselves, but it's good to get on the same page and everybody introduce the same ones because it gives them a better chance of making it further.
When you go to county, there's a committee of this, another resolution. When you go to the county convention, there's a committee. If you're into this stuff, it's really a lot of fun to go on. And that is all of these resolutions come to a committee at the county party that sits down, and it's just people like you. and they sit down and they vote through and say, these three are the same and we'll combine them and we recommend or we disrecommend these. And I know last round we had almost 400 of them.
Yeah.
And so that committee sits down for 5 or 6 hours on several days until they can get through all of them. They bring to the convention from all the things that came from precinct chair, for precincts. They bring to the convention that list and you revote it.
People are getting tired of seeing me just standing up there.
Only when you're not talking, Jimmy, because then we just have to.
That's what I'm talking about.
Keep talking.
I've already gone over my time limit. I'm past the, what is it, the plane can't turn around and get back? Anyway. All right, we've got resolutions now. Vote on them. We get to amend them. We get to do whatever we want to with them. There, that night. That's all I'm going to talk about is that night. I will just reference briefly if there are other places you can go after that. So, let's say you had a good group. You've got a good number of people that are going to go to the county convention, and you have a few as delegates, and then you got a few, one or two over here that say, well, I may not be able to make it, so I want to be an alternate. And once they get down there, they might go from being an alternate to a delegate there at the county convention. Because, hey, these places are fun. I mean, you can go down and have all kinds of debates, meet new friends, and...
Jimmy.
Yes.
We seated all our alternates at the last convention.
Yep.
All the
What I'm talking
alternates.
about.
Yep, at one time or another, I think every alternate
Exactly.
was a delegate.
So don't think because you're an alternate that you're
No.
probably
Each one of you out here are just prime suspects for being a delegate in your precinct. And you should go. You all are smart enough to lead the thing. You can all be chairs if you want to be. If you don't want to be a chair, you can be a vice chair there, or you can be a secretary, or you can be, if you're a muscle guy, you can be a sergeant of the arms. So I encourage each of you to do that. All you have to do to be eligible is to vote in the Republican primary. Then you can go, and I encourage you to go. It's the most important meeting of the year, because that's where it all starts. Don't wait till you get to, this year the state convention's going to be in Fort Worth. Isn't that nice? We don't have to go to Houston or San Antonio. So it's close. You can drive back and forth from home to attend. Now, if you go ahead and get elected as an alternate delegate to the U.S. or to the national convention, you'll have to go all the way down to town.